Moving into the comfort of my familiar neighborhood, I couldn't help but notice a disquieting change in the atmosphere. It was as if a cloud of unease had settled over the place, casting shadows on what was once a tranquil and welcoming environment. The gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze now carried an air of foreboding, and the warm glow of streetlights seemed to be dimmed by an unseen weight. It all began with a neighbor, someone I had exchanged pleasantries with countless times. At first, it was just a subtle shift in their demeanor, a barely perceptible change that set off a chain of events I could have never anticipated. The smile that used to light up their face became strained, their eyes taking on a distant and vacant look. As the days turned into weeks, the feeling of unease deepened, gradually evolving into a haunting sense of dread that settled in the pit of my stomach. Strange encounters became the norm, each one chipping away at the semblance of normalcy we once shared. Passing by their house, I would catch fleeting glimpses of them through the windows, their movements slow and deliberate, as if they were navigating through a world that was no longer in sync with ours. Conversations that used to flow effortlessly turned into tense exchanges, punctuated by awkward silences that seemed to stretch on forever, leaving me struggling for words in the face of their growing detachment. There was an air of unpredictability that surrounded them, an aura of instability that left me on edge whenever I was near. It was as if they were living in a reality all their own, one that was veering further and further away from the familiar world I knew. And with every passing day, I found myself questioning their intentions, wondering if their presence posed a threat to the safety of our neighborhood. The oddest part was the way they seemed to react to everyday occurrences. A car door slamming shut would send them into a fit of panicked glances, their eyes darting around as if expecting something sinister to emerge from the shadows. Their paranoia was palpable, infecting the air around them and leaving me with a sense of trepidation that refused to dissipate, even in the confines of my own home. Sleepless nights were spent listening to the faint rustling sounds that seemed to emanate from their house. Was it just my imagination, playing tricks on me in the darkness? Or were these eerie noises a manifestation of the turmoil that was surely unraveling within their walls? Each creak of a floorboard, each murmur of hushed voices, felt like a puzzle piece in a mystery I was unable to solve. The ending of this tale is yet to be written, but the tension in the air is thick and palpable. As fear continues to consume me, I find myself grappling with the unsettling reality of our once idyllic neighborhood. Each passing day brings new mysteries and unanswered questions, leaving me to wonder if there's a way to escape the unsettling change that has befallen our corner of the world. In the midst of this darkness, I am left with one haunting question. What truly happened to turn a place of comfort into a landscape of uncertainty? There I was, alone in the stillness of my house, the world outside plunged into darkness by the approaching night. As I moved about, the familiar creak of the floorboards reached my ears, a sound that seemed to cut through the silence like a blade. I paused, my heart skipping a beat, but quickly brushed it off as a trick of my overactive imagination, a product of the mind's tendency to conjure phantoms in the absence of company. As the hours ticked away, the night deepened, and the house seemed to come alive with hidden whispers. The once faint creaking had evolved into a persistent rhythm, a haunting symphony that danced on the edge of my consciousness. Every corner I turned, every room I entered, the sound followed me, a phantom companion that refused to be ignored. The shadows grew thicker, the spaces between furniture and doorways becoming ominous voids that held secrets beyond my reach. In the midst of this eerie symphony, my eyes caught a glimpse of movement, a fleeting shape that seemed to melt into the darkness before I could fully comprehend it. My pulse quickened, a knot forming in my throat as my instincts screamed danger. The realization hit me like a freight train. I wasn't alone. There was someone else in the house, someone who had invaded the sanctity of my home, shattering the illusion of safety I had taken for granted. Panic welled up within me, a primal fear that sent my mind into overdrive. Who was this intruder? What did they want? The creaking, the movement in the shadows, they were all pieces of a puzzle that I couldn't piece together. Summoning all my courage, I made a dash for the door, my only thought to escape the clutches of the unknown entity that had taken residence within my sanctuary. The cool night air hit my face like a balm as I stumbled out into the open, my heart pounding in my chest. With trembling hands, I dialed the police, my voice a desperate plea for help. When the authorities arrived, their flashing lights illuminating the darkness, they conducted a thorough search of the house. And there, hidden in the darkest recesses, they found the intruder, a sinister figure who had been lurking within the shadows, biding their time with malicious intent. The truth sent shivers down my spine, a chilling reminder that danger could be lurking just beyond our field of vision, concealed in the ordinary facade of our lives. As they led the intruder away in handcuffs, I couldn't help but shudder at the thought of what might have been. Alone in my house, I had come face to face with the darkness that dwells in the corners of the world, the sinister force that can shatter the illusion of safety in an instant. And as I watched the police car's taillights disappear into the night, I knew that the scars left by that encounter would linger long after the ordeal was over. Sitting alone in the cozy embrace of my living room, the soft hum of the ceiling fan above me, I glanced down at my phone and saw a text message pop up on the screen. At first, it seemed like any other message, an innocuous greeting, the kind we exchange countless times in a day. But as I read the words, a shiver coursed down my spine, and an unexplainable unease settled in the pit of my stomach. The messages that followed took a dark turn, the tone shifting from casual conversation to something altogether more sinister. Veering into threats and demands, they seemed to carry an underlying malevolence that left me questioning the very nature of the person behind the screen. I felt a creeping paranoia, the sensation that every interaction, every step I took, was being watched and analyzed. It was as if my privacy had been invaded, my life dissected by someone with a twisted agenda. The messages taunted me, playing with my emotions and planting seeds of doubt that grew into a suffocating anxiety. The sender's motives remained shrouded in mystery, their identity a puzzle I was determined to solve. Days turned into sleepless nights as I plunged into the depths of online investigation, tracing IP addresses and scouring social media profiles for clues. Paranoia consumed me, each shadowy figure on the street, each fleeting glance from a stranger, sending my heart racing. The walls of my cozy living room seemed to close in, the once familiar surroundings transforming into a prison of fear. As I followed the digital breadcrumbs, the truth began to emerge. The source of the messages was elusive, an enigma that danced just out of reach. Was it a stranger? Someone I knew? The lines between reality and illusion blurred as I delved deeper into the tangled web of deceit. With every revelation, a new layer of fear was added, the realization that I was entangled in a dangerous game of cat and mouse. My interactions with friends and family grew strained, each word and glance analyzed for hidden meanings. The sender's twisted power over me expanded, their grip tightening with every keystroke. I felt like a puppet, manipulated by strings I couldn't see. In the end, as I stared at my phone, my mind a whirlwind of confusion and terror, one thing became clear. I could never escape the haunting grip of the messages, even if I managed to trace them back to their source. The chains of paranoia and fear had been forged, and no amount of investigation could set me free. And so, alone in my once cozy living room, I was left to wonder if the nightmare would ever truly end.